Let's talk some Arthur Smith real fast before we make our picks and dive into all your questions in this one. Arthur Smith has been named to two head coaching jobs in recent weeks or recent days at this point. And it brings up a pretty big question for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that is, what is your expectations moving forward for Arthur Smith? He was obviously linked to UNC. He was super open about that, and shout out for being open on that. Like I told my wife on Thanksgiving, I was like really not in the mood to go to the facility. I woke up, I had a good morning. She was making food. I was like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go to work. I want to be here with you. It's the holiday. Decided to go to work. Turned out immensely in my favor. Why? Because Arthur Smith got super honest about North Carolina and how he loves Pittsburgh. Well, since then, he's been named a candidate for the Bears. He's been named a candidate for the Saints, and he's been named a dark horse candidate for the New York Jets. There will be others. You got to imagine maybe Tennessee, possibly New England. I don't know who else is going to need a head coach in 2025. There will be others. There will be many others. You got to think Bill Belichick, Mike Vrabel, all those names get hired somewhere, unless Belichick goes to college. What is the list? Where does it end for you with Arthur Smith? And do you expect that if Arthur Smith is, hey, it's the Jets or it's nothing, would leave the Pittsburgh Steelers for the New York Jets at this point in his career?
I mean, we saw Ben Johnson do it last year where he was the top guy on the market. And I'm not saying that's what Arthur Smith is going to be, but he is going to be an attractive name, especially if Russell Wilson and the Steelers offense can continue to click. He's going to be one of the more attractive names on the head coaching cycle. And there's only 32 of these jobs. Mm-hmm. So even if it's the Jets, Arthur Smith is going to want to get back in that chair at some point. You have to imagine. But if it is the Jets, we talked about it at length. Yesterday, you were asked a question. Who's the next to get a division championship? The Browns or the Jets? And you're like, oh, well, the Jets. And you went with the Browns to win the AFC freaking North. That's where the Jets are as a franchise. So that's the team that I look at, and I'm like, listen, I understand that there's only 32 of these jobs, but Arthur Smith isn't hurting, right? He was going to the Maldives after he got fired. He's not hurting. And if he wants a better opportunity, there's reason to say that he might want to stay in Pittsburgh and wait for that opportunity, a la what Ben Johnson did. And secondly, what is in the water at Chapel Hill that all of a sudden everybody wants to go coach the UNC Tar Heels as a football team, maybe a basketball team, but the Tar Heels as a football team, that's getting Bill Belichick. That's getting Arthur Smith. That's hilarious to me that's all of a sudden one of the best coaching jobs available outside of NFL jobs.
Yes, I think the North Carolina thing, and I've actually had some conversations. I'm obviously not calling people with Bill Belichick scoops, but I'm having conversations with people who have Bill Belichick scoops, and the thought there is just like Bill's kind of being the like narcissistic boyfriend who's like, hey, I'm gonna flirt with this girl, so that you give me more attention, because he feels that he kind of got shunned from the NFL without getting an opportunity. I agree with you. I look at Arthur Smith as a guy who a year from now could have a lot more opportunities than he does right now, especially if the Steelers offense continues to get better and the Steelers as a whole continue to get better. Football season is on fire right now, and the Pittsburgh Steelers, well, they're looking pretty good, and I don't think there's anything that brings more excitement right now than thinking about going to the game. And right now, Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play even easier. Game Time Picks features out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Obviously, Pittsburgh Steelers, Cleveland Browns, round 2 is red hot, but you could go to Christmas Day, Philadelphia, if you're really feeling feisty, in Cincinnati and Baltimore, both on the radar and the upcoming schedule for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let me tell you why Game Time is incredible. They have a couple of things. First, the Game Time Picks, which curates to make it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc., all in pricing, which shows you the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. Seat views, to get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you ever buy. The lowest price guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. And Game Time ticket coverage, which means your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ALLSTEELERS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code ALLSTEELERS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. You're not going to the Jets. He's just not. Like, let's be honest. If he's not going to North Carolina, his alum, his alma mater, a team that is usually pretty good, and I get it. Like, the ACC is still good, I guess, but it's not the SEC. It's not this prominent, crazy, oh my gosh, you can't win here conference in college football. Like, North Carolina's got shot. I look at the Jets as a way worse option. The Bears are as good as it gets. That's the best job you could get in football right now as a new coach, because you have Caleb Williams, and that's really all you need. When it comes to the rest of them, the Saints, maybe. The Titans, maybe. But I don't know. The Raiders will keep AP. But the Giants, maybe. But you're not going there. I think the list is short. I think it's Chicago and maybe a team with a developed quarterback that he feels comfortable with. Besides that, he's probably staying in Pittsburgh. I agree with you. And I think what works for the Steelers in this, and I want Arthur Smith to go do whatever he wants. I want him to be very successful. He's a great guy. And, I'm pro player, I'm pro coach. Like, go be as good as you could get in this. Again, like, I can't give the guy enough credit. His dad founded FedEx. FedEx. If my dad founded FedEx, I wouldn't be talking to you guys right now. I would be hanging out in like some ocean on some island that nobody knows about except for me and the other trillionaires of the world. That's what we would be doing. Instead, he's working on Thanksgiving, talking to guys like me about UNC. Crazy. I think the Steelers making the playoffs and guys like Mike Vrabel, guys like Bill Belichick, getting to interview for these jobs ahead of time will work in the Steelers' favor, because those prominent jobs are going to get filled. And then guys like Arthur Smith are going to have to wait, because the Steelers aren't going to be like, oh, yeah, you could go get interviewed right now in the middle of a playoff push where we're trying to break a 7-year drought. No. And if they do, they're nuts. And all the criticism needs to be put on them, because I'm pro coach. I'm not pro go let your coach leave in the middle of a playoff week. That ain't happening. So I look at this and say it's in the Steelers' favor that they're a good football team right now. I also don't think that the Jets are going to be the team that steals Arthur Smith away, because I don't think anybody wants to go to the Jets right now. I look at that as just a team that you're going to obviously hire somebody, but it's just going to be somebody who needs an opportunity, not somebody who wants an opportunity.
Yeah, the one name that kind of sticks out to me is kind of an Eric Bieniemy, who's been searching for that opportunity and has been turned down time and time again. And honestly, I thought he did a pretty decent job at UCLA this season, and he got fired, which was preordained so he could get back into the NFL coaching cycle, for everybody that's overreacting to that. But that's the type of coach that wants to prove himself and has a track record that I would think goes to the New York Jets, whereas Arthur Smith is in a position right now that he can stay, a la Ben Johnson, a la, name is escaping me, but defensive coordinator for Aaron Glenn for the Detroit Lions. Similar situation. The guy is going to get a lot of head coaching looks, but if the job that he wants isn't there, there's no problem in going back to Detroit, because odds are he's going to have just as good of a season next year, and he's going to have even more opportunity at potentially better landing spots. So yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with that.
Yeah. And we'll see what happens. A lot of things could change between now and the end of the season, and a lot of jobs will open up between now and the end of the season, or at least the end of the playoff season. But Arthur Smith's name is going to be tossed out there, especially if the Pittsburgh Steelers continue to do things like they did against the Cincinnati Bengals, because the more 400-yard games Russell Wilson has, the more you revive that man's career. Everybody said, oh, you change Justin Fields, you make Justin Fields a franchise quarterback, everybody wants you again. You make Russell Wilson an MVP candidate when he was done, dead in the water. Everybody's going to watch again. So his name will be one to watch. But right now, I'm feeling pretty good that there's a good chance he sticks around in Pittsburgh at least one more season.